Let's bring in another live guest now. We're going to speak to the founder and director of the University of Virginia Center for Politics, Larry Sabato. Larry, thanks for your time on Sky News again. I just want to start with picking up off that report we just heard over the Jeffrey Epstein case. It just seems to be an issue that US President Donald Trump can't shake.
Well, that's absolutely true, because it's taken them so long to get part of the information out there. Yes, it's 3 million pages, but apparently there's another 3 million that hasn't been released. And we're a year into this presidency. Trump promised his supporters, who, by the way, are very concerned about the Epstein files. This is one of their key issues. He promised them that he would do this promptly, and this would be resolved quickly, and they would see that he had no role in it and all the rest of it. Well, it's a festering sore. Every day there's something new. There's another email involving some big shot, usually in the US, but sometimes other countries. It's been an eye-opener for Americans, and not a very pleasant one, frankly.
What did you make of the performance of the US Attorney General Pam Bondi at those congressional hearings this week?
It was the worst performance by any cabinet officer that I've seen in the 55 years that I've been active in watching congressional hearings. I couldn't believe it. Look, you have hardcore conservatives here calling for her resignation or her firing. It was embarrassing. You just don't do that. You don't get into an argument with individual members and start name calling. It doesn't help the cabinet official. Yes, the congressmen look bad too, but it really doesn't matter for them that most of them have safe districts. It was horrendous.
We've seen the White House border czar, Tom Homan, announcing that immigration officers are going to leave Minneapolis. We've seen how many headlines have come out of the operations being undertaken there. Even though the agency's work is finished effectively, do you think that it's had a big effect on how the Trump administration is viewed across the United States?
No question about it. Those videotapes, or the iPhone videos of the 2 American citizens being killed, as well as other both murders and serious injuries in other parts of the country, have really had an impact on people. And now most Americans, including many Republicans, say this has gone too far. We were told that we were going after the worst of the worst. Well, we're going after people who haven't even been found guilty of jaywalking. It's just gone too far. And I think they've recognized it. Mr. Homan is doing the right thing, and he should pull out those ICE officers as soon as possible. And don't flood them into another Democratic state. It will be obvious what he's doing.
We're getting the impression now that certain decisions are being taken in the White House with the midterm elections kind of in the background. We know they're coming up later this year. So it's interesting to see, isn't it, the key US lawmakers mixing with European leaders at this week's Munich Security Conference. We know Secretary of State Marco Rubio is there. Last year we saw J.D. Vance, the US Vice President, lecturing European leaders about democracy. This year, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and California Governor Gavin Newsom, both Democrats, have criticized Donald Trump in the last few hours. Newsom calling him the most destructive president ever. AOC warning the US president is tearing apart transatlantic relationships. Which audience are they playing to? Will those comments make it into news bulletins back in the US?
They already have, and that's exactly right. What you're pointing to is they're speaking to a domestic audience here, and that domestic audience is Democratic activists who will vote in Democratic primaries for president 2.5 years or almost 3 years hence. So I don't know whether people will remember it, but they're trying to cut a dynamic figure early, because the early bird often gets the worm in American politics.
And also, I just want to have a quick nod to what Donald Trump said about Viktor Orban, the Hungarian leader. That election is less than 2 months away. He's backing him again. But Orban really has fallen out with his fellow European leaders over his support for Russia. Is Donald Trump showing his true colors again there?
I don't know if this particular instance shows his true colors, but it's been perfectly obvious to domestic observers here that Trump favors Russia. It's not that he doesn't cooperate with Ukraine on occasion and provide useful materials to President Zelensky. But between the two, the way Trump looks at it, Russia is the world power. Russia is the one with nuclear weapons. They're the ones that we want good relations with. And he's pretty forthright about it. He does want to end the war because he wants the Nobel Peace Prize. And he's not going to get it if he doesn't end that war.
Yeah, okay, fascinating stuff. Larry Sabato, founder and director of the University of Virginia Center for Politics. Thank you, Larry. Appreciate it.